Good evening and welcome to the April 15th, 2026 regular school committee meeting. We are meeting at the Tewksbury Memorial High School and it is 5:30 p.m. I could ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This regular school committee meeting will be televised and recorded and may be viewed live on Comcast Channel 22, Verizon Channel 34, or youtube.com/Tewksbury TV. Under the open meeting law, the public is permitted to make an audio or video recording of an open session at a public meeting. If anyone is in the audience recording tonight's meeting, to please identify themselves. No one is recording the meeting. Congratulations, Mr. Ryan Lloyd, on your election to the school committee.
Yep.
We welcome you and look forward to our work together. At this time, I will entertain a nomination for the position of chairperson of the Tewksbury School Committee.
I would like to nominate Bridget Garabedian.
Second that?
The name of Bridget Garabedian has been placed in nomination, seconded by Mr. Moncada. Are there any other nominations for the position of chairperson? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion that nominations for chairpersons be closed.
I would say something.
Oh, Mrs. Garabedian, would you like to accept the nomination?
I would just say something. I think, thank you for the nomination. I think, I just want to say something about our committee in general. For people who don't understand how our committee has worked and the collaboration that we have, I think we definitely have had, and we do have, our own way of thinking. We're very independently minded. I think we add our own individual input to a lot of the things that we're doing. I think the role of the chair is very administrative. So in terms of what the chair role brings to this committee, really is very administrative. And I think I do welcome the nomination, and I appreciate you nominating me, and I accept the nomination. I think my role outside of this committee, as being a nurse, I have a lot of flexibility in terms of my day job to be able to have daytime availability. And for the school committee, you need a lot of daytime availability to be available to stop into the schools in the morning, to be in central office in the daytime. I sometimes see you guys during the day. Because I think that's when the people that you need to connect with are available. So unlike the select board or the planning board or a lot of these other boards that people run for and participate on in town, are evenings and nights. The school committee really does have a big ask for you to be available if you can be during the day if you have that opportunity. So I just want to put that out there that I do welcome that, and I do think that people need to understand that we have a lot of collaboration and that there's a lot of just administrative work that happens for the chair, and that's what I hope I'm bringing to this committee as that role.
And you sure do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing no other nominations, I will entertain a motion that nominations for chairperson be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion moved by Ms. Biagioni Smith, seconded by Mr. Moncada. On the name of Bridget Garabedian, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, congratulations, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
And you have page 2.
Thank you. And thank you, Mrs. Caliendo, for putting together the point of order for this work. At this time, I'll entertain a nomination for the position of vice chair. for the school committee.
I would like to nominate Mrs. B. Joni Smith as vice chair.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, and is there any other nominations? Okay. Would you accept the nomination?
I do, yeah, thank you so much, I appreciate it. I think, like you said, I think it's worked out that I work from home, I get to come in and help when needed. It's been, I guess, convenient to be able to do that, so it was nice that you mentioned that because it does help, so, yeah, I absolutely accept.
Okay, so we had a motion, that was from Mr. Moncada, correct?
Yep.
And a second, was that Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Okay, and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and again, Mrs. B. Johnny Smith, you have worked very hard also to help with a lot of the administrative work that goes in behind the scenes. And it's the school committee does have a lot of that type of work, so thank you. And then moving on, third, at this time, I'll entertain a nomination for the position of clerk.
I nominate Ryan Lloyd.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Lloyd, would you be interested?
Yes.
Okay, all right, and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, and that passes unanimously. Great, thank you. That was painless.
Thank you, all of you.
All right, and thank you, Mrs. Terry Regan, for opening and doing some of the work that needs to be done. And thank you all for joining us tonight. I will leave Mrs. Terry Regan.
Sure, we have no recognitions tonight, however, we have Maggie, our student report, if we'd like to hear her before the presentation, or certainly have Maggie.
Sure.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. To start tonight's update, we have everything that's happening with TMHS clubs. Choose the First is currently finishing up the annual fudge drive while hosting interest meetings for all newcomers for the upcoming school year. Art Club is working on the Global Buzz Bee project for the district art show. The club contribution will be a mix of media bee plush flower pieces using some recycled material. It's time to get loud. Tickets for the TMHS Theater Company's spring show, Matilda the Musical, are on sale now. This powerhouse musical turns the classical book into a night filled with catchy songs, high-energy dances, and a story that will inspire all ages. Tickets are available online now at the cur8.com, or can be purchased at the door. Shows are Thursday, April 30th at 7, Friday, May 1st, 7, Saturday, May 2nd at 2, and an evening show that Saturday at 7. Another chance to see our art department in action is May 8th. Everyone is invited to hear the music that the TMHS Band and Chorus has worked on all semester and celebrate our seniors as they sing their final solos. This event is free and open to the public. The Model UN team won outstanding delegation at the UMass Lowell Model UN among 22 schools. We also won 8 individual medals. March brought back the annual Best Buddies game night, where all participants enjoyed pizza and played bingo, categories, and board games. Finally, today at TMHS, Student Council had the pleasure of hosting hundreds of student leaders from around the state for NEMASC, a day filled with learning, collaboration, and fun. The event has been planned for months by Ms. Glass, our club advisor, various school administrators, Mr. Meehan, the NEMASC advisor, and last but not least, our very own TMHS junior, Jake Giganti, who was just elected as a 2026-2027 NEMASC president. Next are updates from TMHS sports. All spring sports are underway with tremendous success being seen across all teams. First, our esports team will be playing Braintree High School for the state championship this Thursday, April 16th at 5:30. Lacrosse is going to make history this year, starting their spring season with 8 wins and 0 losses. Lacrosse isn't the only team making history, where boys baseball opened their season, taking down the defending D1 state champions, Chelmsford, setting a clear tone of expectations they have set for this year. Finally, for sports, boys and girls spring track also find themselves in the win column, taking home their second wins of the season last night against Dracut, making both teams combine for a perfect 4-0 record with 2 meets left in the regular season. And finally, the miscellaneous news. Quarter 3 has officially come to a close, marking the start of all senior projects for our upcoming graduates. With no attendance for AP and dual enrollment classes, Our seniors are working at internships, volunteering at schools, and helping to make a positive impact on the community. While for our upcoming senior class, they will have their own fun this Friday at junior prom. The bus will depart from the high school at 5:15 for a night full of dancing, eating, and unforgettable memories. However, before the juniors can get groovy on the dance floor, they'll have the opportunity to attend the annual college fair during the school day. The second half of a career day, which gave the juniors an opportunity to sit down and have a Q&A session with respected industry professionals. And that's all for tonight.
Thank you, Maggie. Good luck at the prom, have fun.
Thank you.
Right? Sounds like a nice
College
time.
fair, yeah.
Yeah, the college fair. Any questions or comments from anybody?
Have fun at the prom.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see pictures.
Almost a senior.
So close.
Yeah.
So far at the same time.
Don't rush, no rush. Don't be in a rush.
This will get easier.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and that brings us to our next set of presenters.
Yes, Madam Chair, Dr. Milligan has assembled a cast of our district-level administrators and directors to share with you some of our program reports as well as information on our Student Opportunity Act.
Thank you. First, we have Mrs. Baker O'Brien and Mrs. Candace Thurett. They're going to be going over our last audit, our integrated monitoring review. I reported out on our ELE components of the audit, and now we have Mrs. Baker O'Brien reporting out on the civil rights aspect of the audit, along with Mrs. Candace Thurett, who will be reporting out on the special ed part of the audit tonight. Perfect, thank you.
So what is an IMR? It is the Integrated Monitoring Review. The IMR ensures that school districts comply with federal and state laws and regulations regarding civil rights and special ed. It is a self-assessment that allows districts to internally evaluate its own performance and practices against a set of identified standards or criterion. And what I'm going to speak to, as Ms. Milligan said, is the civil rights portion. This is a proactive discovery phase that allows the district to identify and resolve potential areas of compliance gaps and internally resolve them before DESE begins its review. For this review cycle, we had 3 primary criterion. The districts evaluated its performances against 20 subset criterion for equity and compliance. The first criterion was a review of our handbooks and programs of study. No evidence was submitted by the district because the Department of Ed did their evaluation by looking at our website, but it should be noted that the district for several years has focused on this, and that every spring we look at our program of studies, we look at our handbooks, we look for non-discrimination language, and make sure that the grievance processes are clearly stated for families to go through and know what steps to take. We also make sure our course descriptions do not block or prohibit students from access. The second portion is equitable counseling and support services. This is primarily at the high school level. The first focus was individualized pathways. The guidance counselors at TMHS spend every spring during course selection time meeting with students individually. During that, it's a multi-faceted meeting, but during that, one of the focuses is what is the child's interest, what are their postgraduate goals, and how can we as counselors help them achieve that through course selection process. As you heard Maggie say, we also have a college fair, we have a career fair. We've reestablished our partnership with Mass Hire, who brings in a lot of opportunities for students. Our counselors do resume writing workshops. By the way, all of those activities run during the school day. And the reason for that is it's equitable access. If we ran these after school hours and children didn't have the means for transportation to get back to school, then they're not getting that opportunity to participate in that. So we strategically plan, like the half day coming up, we use that half day every year before April vacation for our college career fair. Why it is called a career fair, we also invite a variety of career programs like the Peterson School. We would invite them in. Our military gets invited in. So it is not just geared to colleges. Bias screening, if you go onto our district website, internal website that the district has built, we have many tools to assist our staff in identifying bias within the curriculum that we have within the district. For example, the 7 forms of bias is a resource that looks at curriculum, and the teachers can go through this and identify it and then forward it to central office for Brenda and Nancy to look at. The curriculum bias information and tools is another one with a wealth of different resources for our teachers. Inclusive communication, ensuring our English language learners and students with disabilities have full access to district programming. Our district ensures that all students, regardless of their language needs and their physical or emotional cognitive abilities, can fully participate in academics as well as school-sponsored programs. We provided a lot of support to the Department of Ed to support this. Our linguistic support, providing guidance and counseling in language to model the students who clearly understands. If you look at our district website, Mr. Stamp has worked on having an accessibility button. So not only does it translate for families in their native language, and I don't even know, Jason, how many languages would there be? Like,
Put me on the spot.
I'm sorry. There's 20 languages. It also has the ability, the accessibility for people with dyslexia, for example, or with low vision. So there is a lot that website can now provide our families within the district. And non-traditional pursuits, as you heard me state, our counselors meet with the students. There are many students, and historically there are many students that aren't college bound and are looking for, what do I do after high school? Both our website and those individual meetings provide students with those opportunities. There are many students that may go on to the Peterson School for like HVAC, electrical, firefighting, just to name a few. And there are other programs. Southern New Hampshire Community College has many programs. So we make sure that those students that have those non-traditional paths have access to the information and know where they can turn to pursue those interests when they graduate. The last criterion was the responsibilities of the principal. And the District Curriculum Accommodation Plan, known as a DCAP, was a project that we worked on as an administrative team about 3 years ago. And the DCAP has been, we consider it extremely robust, and it mirrors the IEP and the 4 areas that the IEP now targets, which is presentation, timing and scheduling, setting and environment, and response. These are all Tier 1 interventions, which Tier 1 means are open and available to all students, that every teacher provides these accommodations or interventions to all of our students. We are very proud of our DCAP, and we feel as though we have the most robust DCAP that we've had in many years. Our early literacy screening, you will hear a little bit about this more in the SOA report from Ms. Felicia. And basically is we have a universal screener. A lot of what we do is data-driven decision-making, meaning we use a universal screener, we look at the data, and then we determine what are the next appropriate steps to support our students in identifying the needs that that students may have. And just so you know, these screeners and the data progress monitoring aligns with our district strategic plan that we put in place at the beginning of this academic year. Also a responsibility of the school principal was the home and health services. So there are students who may have interrupted education due to an underlying illness or a surgery that need to be hospitalized or homebound. For those students, there is a process in place. We have it publicized. It's part of our district policy, but it is also one in which our staff need to be educated on. There is a 14-day rule, and what that is there are 14 days a student is going to miss consecutively or cumulatively, and that is documented by a physician. And then it comes to central office, who will then move forward to process it. The goal is that academic continuity. We do not want our children falling behind academically, and, you know, it incorporates our general ed. So our findings are not, everything we reported on in this civil rights portion of the audit, we did fine on. The only thing that we were reminded of is that the district accountability report indicated that our English language learning students are not currently meeting expected proficiency benchmarks. These findings from the staff, come from staff interviews, suggest a lack of standardized procedures and for consistent tracking and addressing the linguistic progress of our L students. This is not something new. This is something we have known about, and Candace will speak about that in a few minutes, for many different audit cycles. As a result, you will see that both our district strategic plan, our SOA report are addressing those needs along with other initiatives within the district. And at this point, I turn it over to my friend Candace.
Good evening, everyone. So moving on to special education. There, okay, make places.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, the IMR's purpose is to align our policies with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act to improve student outcomes. This cycle focused on Group A universal standards, which covered 40 different criteria, including how we identify students and develop IEPs.
Oh, sorry.
Madam Chair, if I might, for Mr. Lloyd's benefit, Ms. Karen Baker O'Brien is our Director of Student Family Support. Ms. Candace Tharrett is our Director of Special Education and Student Services. So,
So during the data gathering phase of the audit, DESE did look closely at our child find obligations, which is our duty to identify and evaluate any child who may have a disability. They specifically reviewed documentation for students who received tiered interventions for 12 weeks or more to see how we determine eligibility for special ed. The state selected 12 student records for an on-site review. They also analyzed 3 key indicators. Indicator 11, which is our timeline for evaluations. Indicator 12, covering the transition from early childhood services by age 3. And Indicator 13, which ensures students age 14 and older are prepared for life after high school through secondary transition planning. The next phase was the discovery phase. So during this phase, we uploaded extensive documentation to the DESE portal. This included our procedures for independent evaluations, our continuum of alternative placements, and our standards for assistive technology and instructional grouping. Additionally, we uploaded our special education manual. We also provided documentation regarding our preschool programs, suspension procedures, 11. For students with disabilities. Yep, you're good. And evidence that our students have an equal opportunity to participate in all extracurricular and non-academic programs alongside their peers. The engagement phase included DESE representatives visiting our schools for 2 full days. They conducted the record reviews, held remote interviews with administration and the Special Ed Parent Advisory Council, the CPAC. They physically inspected our related service and sensory spaces, and we also provided floor plans to show exactly where special education services are delivered. In the debrief session following the site visit, preliminary findings were shared with special ed administration. We were very pleased to hear that no corrective actions were recommended at that time, and then when we were notified that a formal report would be sent to the district by March 12th of 2026. So to conclude, the results are excellent. For civil rights, our standards are 100% implemented with only 1 prior corrective action still under review. In special education, we achieved 100% implementation across all 40 standards and 3 key indicators. There are no new corrective actions identified for the special ed department, which is a testament to the hard work of all of our staff. Finally, regarding the 1 prior corrective action under civil rights pertaining to language acquisition, this has shown up across the last several audits and reports in our district, including the previous coordinated program review, the 2023 tiered focus monitoring review, which is now IMR, the third-party special ed audit, and the current IMR. Under the IMR standards, school leadership is responsible for ensuring that gen ed tiered interventions are used to support a student's language needs prior to any special ed referrals. To better align with the findings regarding EL progress in the district's goals, it's a part of the district's strategic plan, and we are actively working on embedding language acquisition directly into the general education classroom. With that being said, overall, we're very proud of the hard work done here across the district with no current findings. Thank you.
Thank you. So just for clarification, the IMR replaces the TFM?
The acronyms
Yes.
change every 3 years.
Okay,
Same.
Every 3 years is a new
keep it up though,
acronym.
keep it up.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Any questions or comments?
I'll just say quickly, we spoke briefly earlier today about the pathways thing, because as I've been speaking with the residents, and in general, just pushing college on people who have no interest in it, who have no real way of accomplishing things, giving them the opportunity to try something else, explore different options is very much called for, at least outside of the school, just because we don't need 600 college grads with a degree that 3 people can get, and now everyone else is out of luck and going into debt. So it was good that there's this much effort being put into it. And then as far as the prior non-compliance, you mentioned there's a plan that comes up again, so I'm not going to delve into that and bring that up when it comes up later on. So, but I'm glad we have some plan put in motion to get that back in line and be set across the board. But good work with all of this, and thank you for everything you do.
Sure. So thank you, as always. This, in spite of the good results, right? Was there anything that you came out of this that was like, oh, maybe we can still do this even better? Anything pop
We're
out?
always looking to improve. We have made some changes in the department, and we're hoping, we wanted DESE to come in so they could let us know if those changes were appropriate. And because we didn't have any findings, we're happy to see, because we're trying to help our department work more efficiently. So with those changes, we were happy to see that with all of our records, they were still in compliance with DESE and the regulations.
Sure. Great. Yeah, well, thanks for all that you do, and this is a good presentation. Appreciate it.
Yeah. You may have said, Ms. Baker O'Brien, you may have mentioned it, but is there anything we're doing for the L students that the finding being less than, I guess, desirable?
I think that, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that is happening. Ms. Mulligan has been working with our L department very closely. We're also, you could probably speak a
want me to
little bit
speak
more.
to it?
Yeah.
So between the two findings, the finding had 2 parts. One was about progress monitoring to ensure that our EL students are meeting the targets set out by the state. So right now we're exploring a progress monitoring tool that's supported by DESE that we're looking to pilot at the end of this year to look at purchasing next year if it meets all of our needs. You're going to hear the next presentation talks a lot about screeners. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a screener that's going to ensure that as we move from access tests to access tests, which is the MCAS test for Ls that happens in January, from January to January, do we have enough data showing that we're going to meet the target set out by the state? So that's one thing that we're currently doing. The second part, as we discussed, is that all teachers need to be teaching languages within their classrooms, especially for our English language learners. So therefore, part of our strategic plan that's been referenced is that this year, the professional development has really been talking about how do you post a language objective for students that's in kid-friendly language that they understand when they're asked to analyze. What does analysis look like at the different levels? When you ask them to interpret, what are different ways that you can interpret data and or literary information. So we've been working on that for this year, and it will continue to be within our strategic plan next year to dive deeper, because it's not just about posting a language objective for the students, but helping the student unpack the language that's in front of them. And all students are language learners. It doesn't necessarily mean just because English may be your second language, but even when we think about kindergartners, first graders, language itself is a discipline in itself that you have to understand. So those are the two areas that we have identified will help with this identified area, the area of finding. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And then one other question. So for the 12 special ed records that were evaluated, were there any findings that, or any like near misses or anything like that that jumped out?
No, so when they come on site, anything that may not be in the physical record, as long as we can produce it, that's fine, but there wasn't anything we had to produce for them.
Okay.
So there wasn't anything to report.
Madam Chair, if I might, I think that's really important to also note under the direction of our special ed leadership team. Remember, we've also implemented the new IEP. So it was wonderful to hear that things are really tight, that we're not missing documents or missing pieces that need to be part of that. So it's a lot of moving pieces in all of the processes. You know, it's not that it stayed stagnant for the last umpteen years and we're improving on the same thing. They're changing and moving as we're undergoing these audits.
Yeah, one of the major regulation changes that happened for us procedure-wise was that we used to have 10 days to return the IEP and meeting notes to the family. They reduced it down to 5. So that is a tight timeline, but we were able to work through that, and the assistant Karen and I review all of the IEPs before they go out. So we were able to come up with a system where we could have that extra additional eye in making sure things were on point with what was discussed in the meeting, translating to the IEP, and then home to the family. So we've created a system that's worked for us. I'm sure that there are a few that go out late at times, but we, for the most part, are able to get things out on time, even though the timeline's shortened by 50%.
Can I follow up with just one more? So are any of the things that are being done here as a result of the audit, and like is there a connection between the two? And I don't know who the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
And especially if you remember in the audit, really what the audit called out was we need to tighten up our tier 1 instruction for all students, because when we do that, that at least decreases special ed referrals because the instructional supports are appropriate for all learners. As Dr. Milligan talked about, language acquisition. This isn't just for a student who's struggling with learning English. Almost every student at every content area is learning new English. So it was really called out in the audit as a tier 1 general education piece. And while it's not in corrective action, DESE's not seeing it fully implemented, that English immersion for all students in the tier 1. So you'll hear a lot about MTSS and tier 1. We're talking about every classroom, and that needs to be a focus area for all. So yes, as well as I would say some of the logistical administrative pieces, Candace and Kara have really tightened up on, but it's going to take some years before we get there, but we're seeing some good reactions from that audit into practice.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I was going, was that these are great findings, and the sustainability of all that. I was hoping that the findings from the audit played into this, and now sustaining that is just
And they helped build the strategic plan, or I should say, build on it, because these were objectives to continue building on them and build on the professional development needed for our staff. Which is probably the key thing when you said, how are we working on that? The professional development has really focused on a couple of areas from these audits.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, awesome.
I just have a couple of things. One, I'm trying to find it in here. There was right here. The general ed focus, where there was a priority placed on resolving literacy gaps within the general education classroom through progress monitoring. I guess my question it could kind of be either side of the table. Are you finding that with the changes that you've made in addressing, I guess, the post-COVID changes that you guys have implemented, have made a difference in terms of this DESI review as opposed to the prior DESI review in the general ed classroom.
It's a segue.
General ed.
I think it's a nice segue. All the data that we're going to be presenting in the second presentation, I think is going to speak to that exact question.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right.
It's a
okay.
beautiful segue for us.
Okay, good, all right. Because that's in the back of my mind too.
Sure.
Because I think, okay, all right, I can wait, I can wait. Okay, that's where I'm headed. Okay, good, thank you so much. I'm really happy for you. I'm happy with the students, and I'm happy for the staff that are doing this work every day. I know it was really, it was difficult, you know, after the, you know, to kind of pull up from some of the stuff that we had in the other review. And I appreciate the transparency and the honesty that the district has had, you know, with some of the reviews that have come out, and how hard you've worked, everybody collectively, in putting out the truth. And I think, I don't know that people recognize that sometimes we do really honestly discuss these things. And then we revisit them, and then revisit them. And here we are, 5 years later, in a completely different place, and having done the work and watching you really pick away at how to fix these problems and implement different things that really have worked. So thank you all so much, and thank the staff that you're working with that have done that work. So thanks.
You know, Chair. Thank you, team.
Super proud day.
Good. Dr. Milligan, you ready?
Ready. I'm just going to have Mr. Stamp bring up the second presentation for us tonight. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. Tonight we're going to, myself, Mrs. Rawlinson, Mr. Stamp, and Mrs. Baker O'Brien are going to present an update on our SOA, our Student Opportunity Act. So if you'd like to go to the next slide. Tonight we're here to provide an update on the District Student Opportunity Act. We'll begin with an overview of what the SOA plan is, which was created in 2024 and is a multi-year plan. From there, we'll dive into the data and progress, looking specifically at literacy and math milestones, before transitioning into how we are supporting our students' social and emotional needs and well-being. We intend this to be a transparent process about both our successes and the next steps in our plan. Okay. The Student Opportunity Act went into effect in 2019 and required districts to create formal plans in 2024 for monitoring. Through the analysis of district data, state audits, accountability data, the district identified 2 evidence-based practices, Evidence-Based Practice, or EBP 1.2, which focuses on implementing comprehensive tiered support, and EBP 2.2b, implementing high leverage practices for students with disabilities. Breaking our 2 evidence-based practices down, our presentation will contextualize practices identified and the data that we are tracking for evidence of impact. Our practices focus highly on universal screeners to help identify and monitor instructional practices, while also bolstering high leverage inclusive practices. I am now going to turn the presentation over to Ms. Felicia Rawlinson to discuss what it looks like through our literacy initiatives.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I want to start by looking at our MCAS ELA data over the past 3 years for our key student groups: English learners, students with disabilities, low-income students, and high-need students. As a reminder, MCAS is a snapshot in time. It gives us an important measure of achievement, but it doesn't capture the full picture of student progress. So this slide shows growth and achievement side by side. On the left is growth, or student growth percentile. SGP compares students to peers with similar starting points. So if you look at that graph, the dotted line, 50 is our typical growth, and 40 to 60 is the expected range. And on the right is achievement, or the percentage of students meeting expectations. So if you're looking at growth, one bright spot is actually our English learners whose SGP increased to 60, showing stronger than typical progress. likely connected to our work with language objectives, scaffolding, and differentiation. For students with disabilities, growth remains below the typical range, making this a continued area of focus, particularly around inclusive practices, UDL, and strengthening Tier 1 instruction. And you'll notice on the achievement side, the gaps do remain, especially for students with disabilities, though we are seeing some positive movement for low-income and high-need students. Overall, the story here is that growth is improving, especially for English learners, while achievement gaps remain and continue to guide our work. Okay, great. While MCAS provides that annual snapshot for us, this slide shifts us to a more frequent and instructionally useful data point. So this is our DIBELS data, which is what we use as a universal screener in grades K to 6. It measures foundational reading skills like phonemic awareness, decoding, and fluency, and it's given 3 times a year with progress monitoring in between. One key highlight is our start of year benchmark data. So if you look, you can see that this year, 71% of students were at or above benchmark compared to 61% 2 years ago, a 10-point increase, suggesting stronger entry-level literacy skills. You'll also notice a dip in the prior year, which we believe reflects cohort impacts from disrupted early literacy experiences during COVID. We're now seeing a rebound as supports have strengthened. In response, we've increased our K-4 ELA instructional block from 90 to 120 minutes to support both foundational skills and grade level instruction, and that will start next year, that increased ELA instructional block. This progress reflects our focus on strong Tier 1 instruction, including the implementation of EL education, foundations, Heggerty, and GEODS, along with more consistent use of data and PLCs. There's more good news. We're also seeing a reduction in students at the highest level of risk, with intensive decreasing from 19 to 13% over the past couple of years. This means that fewer students are entering each grade level with significant reading challenges. Overall, these trends suggest that our instructional systems, our intervention supports, and our use of data are translating into improved literacy outcomes. And with that, if you have any questions, I will turn it over to Jason to talk about math.
So while Felicia has multiple years of norm data, in math we're now in our second year of universal math screening for grades K to 8. Are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Thank you. This new data has become an integral part of our evidence-based practice. It provides a clear, objective view of student performance, allowing us to continuously refine our interventions and ensure our resources are deployed where they are in greatest impact on student growth. Throughout our scheduled data meetings, our teacher teams are diving deep into these results to refine their daily lessons and broader units. For example, this year, one of our grade level teams worked with our math coaches to overhaul their scope and sequence and use of their primary math resource based on clear trends identified last year. We've also made a pivotal shift in our our Title I buildings. While we remain 100% committed to literacy, we are now providing that same level of intensive targeted support for our young mathematicians. Thanks to Title I funding, we brought on 1.5 math interventionists to serve our K-4 Title I schools. By triangulating data from AimsWeb, EWIS, and teacher observations, as well as feedback from the principals, we've ensured no student falls through the cracks, and we are thrilled to report that as of this meeting, every single high-priority student in these buildings has already received at least one full cycle of intervention. You gotta go down, start there. When we compare this winter's benchmark data to last year's, we begin to see a tangible reflection of our evolving practices. While we are only 2 years, it's really 1 year into this specific data set, because we've done it twice, but we only have really 1 year of data to compare. We want to be cautious not to over-interpret our early results, but the trend is positive. In grades K to 6, our AimsWeb screener shows a slight reduction in the high-risk category and a corresponding increase in the low-risk students. Essentially, our Tier 1 instruction seems stable, and our interventions seem to be reaching the students who need them the most. We are watching our students with IEPs very closely to ensure we are closing achievement gaps. Here too, we are seeing an encouraging shift. The high-risk tier for students with IEPs dropped from 36.1 to 32.8. Again, early evidence, so need to be cautious, thinking that that's the way it's really going. While the percentage of students in the low-risk category remains stable, we notice a significant movement from the high-risk to the moderate-risk category, which rose from 18.5% to 22.8%. This indicates a positive upward trajectory in the interim growth, and this interim growth is a vital step in the process of closing those long-term achievement gaps. So this slide looks at student growth percentiles, not MCAS, but Ames Web provides us with student growth percentiles as well. This measures, and like Felicia said, this measures how much a student grew compared to their academic peers. This is one of the strongest indicators of the impact our teachers have in the classroom. And like Felicia's slide, the dotted line represents the 50th growth percentile. This is our typical growth. This is where we want to see all of our students. This is the target. Most students will fall between the 40th and the 60th percentile. And this is sort of like when you go to the doctor's office and my kid is this tall, and say your child's in the 50th percentile, and you say, oh, that's average. And if they're in the 65th percentile, you think, oh, they're above average. And the doctor says, no, they're average. Because the average is really that band, right? So last year, the data suggested, last year is the light blue. Last year, the data suggested with high quality teaching, one of our grade level teams' results weren't meeting our internal benchmarks. We responded by tightening our focus on primary resources and providing intensive coaching. The results are clear. The average SGP increased significantly, and the standard deviation, or that gap between the highest and lowest growth, narrowed. So you can see the average went from the 53rd percentile to the 62nd percentile, and then the standard deviation went from 7 to 3.5. So, and then you can actually see each bar represents a classroom. So all of our classrooms are meeting or above, and most of them are actually above that average. So we are seeing more consistent high-level growth across the entire grade, and this just shows we're not just looking at these numbers, we're using them to change outcomes in real time.
And now on to the social-emotional learning. Recognizing the social-emotional health or well-being of our students is a fundamental to their child's academic success. In line with our approach to ELA math, our district has dedicated screener to identify students who may require additional social-emotional supports. We are currently using the DESA, which is a nationally normed assessment that aligns with the CASEL competency, which is the gold standard. As this slide will illustrate, if we take the data from the 2024-2025 school year, at the beginning of the year, so we do 3 assessments, one in October, after we get to know the kiddos, one in the end of February, beginning of March, that is mid-year, and then one in May, to determine how well has the interventions worked, are they working, is the student making progress. As you can see, we had 193 students that were identified as needing supports. And why this is important, just so you know, is that there are kids that when we do these assessments, and for the younger kids, it is a teacher who's doing very specific questions, they're answering it, and from that they identify students in need. At the high school level, the students are self-assessing. So, for example, in a conversation with the adjustment counselor at the high school previously, we had children that never were on the radar of needing support, who through the self-assessment, we got feedback that those children actually needed help. And we were able to put interventions and support in place. So these screeners are extremely important, because when a child's mental health, well-being is not in a good space and they're struggling, they're not going to be available for their academics. So having this screener is very essential for our district. We have a 55% growth in success for students with social emotional learning from the data that is presented. That is attributed to many of the initiatives that district has done over the last 4 years. For example, As you see on the slide, you have an MTS partnership, we have a digital intervention playbook, and then the last two are more recent initiatives. So I'm going to start with the MTSS partnership. So MTSS is multi-tiered systems of support. You'll hear that often. You look at the DESE website, you'll see that. What that is tier 1, universal, as you heard me say previously, open and available to all students. When a student is struggling and tier 1 interventions have not been successful and they get referred to what we call the student support team, or SST. When those children come in that way, now we're looking at, okay, we've looked at the data, how were they not successful? Is there anything else that we need to put in place? We may look at what we call tier 2 interventions, more targeted interventions to support that child. Tier 3 is highly specific, very driven for that child. So with the help of a consultant, we have done many things with our student support team. One, we have met with the entire district, both administrators and our school adjustment counselors, to come up with common language, common practices. With the help of Mr. Stamp, we created an internal app because there is no application out in the world to help school districts with this collection of data and identifying students. This is available to administrators and identified staff. Through this process, we have what we call an action plan. So when a child gets referred to the SST or the student support team, we look at the identified need, we look at what are the appropriate tier 2 interventions, and we put together an action plan. That goes back to the teacher, 4 to 6 weeks of monitoring, and then we have a follow-up date where the case is represented to the team for a review. So the consultant has helped us with that process. He has also helped us develop a tier 2 and 3 digital intervention playbook, which we have online for all our schools to utilize. And we've encouraged each of the schools to also embed their own, because each grade band may have some different interventions that are more age appropriate for those students. The district also created, with the help of the consultant, a very specific process, how the referrals are made, how we track those referrals, and we created an MTSS SST playbook. This playbook provides definitions of what this all is, but it also ties in the many initiatives that we've done over the last several years. One, our PLCs. Why are PLCs important in this process? Because it identifies not only students who are academically struggling on the assessment and the screeners that both Felicia and Jason just spoke about, but also the kids with the DESA screening. And it allows us to get a bigger picture of the whole child. The MTSS playbook also takes into account our vision of a learner. So what we tried to do with that playbook is all these initiatives that we've put in place is tie them all together so that the staff could see the importance of all these initiatives do not operate in silos. They all are tied to the social emotional well-being of our students. Additionally, this year, we have developed through our district strategic plan an SEL steering committee and the teen mental health training. So the SEL steering committee is looking at what is it that our district needs to better support our students with social emotional learning, and that may be more curriculum. So at this point, we have looked at a few different platforms. We are in the process of trying out some platforms that the platforms have given us access without cost, which we were very excited about. And our teachers have been very excited to try this out. We're hoping to expand. We had a recent meeting where we're asking them to expand so that more teachers can try some of these platforms out. And the goal is that by the end of this year, we will have developed and identified a plan to move forward in the years to come. The teen mental health training, it's called actually mental health first aid training. Counselors coming out of school right now in their programs get this embedded in their curriculum that they are taught in school. All of our counselors, with the help of Maria Ruggiero, has, who, if you don't know, Maria works out of our health department. She came in and trained all our staff several years ago, and right now we have a grant, and we're in the process of training our staff here at the high school, and it will filter down to the WIN, and our students will soon be trained. And it's to help them understand what are the mental health concerns and how do I identify them and how do I reach out for help when I need them. As we all know, mental health concerns, it's not new, but what COVID did do for mental health concerns is it actually shined a spotlight on it. So prior to COVID, it was 1 in 5 students sitting in a classroom had underlying mental health concerns, and the data in COVID was 1 in 6. Not a big jump, but what it did is let us know that this is a huge concern for our community and every community. And knowing that there aren't a lot of resources out, we as schools have to be proactive in supporting our students. So that's what this part of the report is addressing, is all of those initiatives.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So if we want to see the growth that we've discussed tonight, we have to be honest about where our focus needs to be most intense. This slide represents our North Stars for each of these areas for the upcoming year. We aren't just identifying problems, but we are prioritizing the foundational areas that, if addressed, will lift every other metric in the district. For ELA, we know that grade 3 is the pivot point where students' literacy abilities are a key factor for future success. Our priority is strengthening that foundation within our K through 3rd grade classrooms. This means that we are going deeper than just using a curriculum, such as the new EL resource that's been brought to the district, but we are also intensifying our Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports. Essentially, we are building a safety net so that no student falls through the cracks in those critical early years. We are using our progress monitoring tools to ensure that if a child is struggling, we have dedicated intervention to help support their development. For mathematics, our priority is a guaranteed and viable curriculum. Guaranteed means that regardless of which school or classroom a student is in, they are receiving the same high-quality instruction, and viable means that we have paced our curriculum resources in a way that ensure that we can provide all the needed instruction within the school year here in Tewksbury. High-quality instructional materials, HQIM, are the floor, not the ceiling. By solidifying our Tier 1 core instruction, we actually reduce the number of students who need intervention later. We are focusing on making sure our first instruction is so strong that it meets the needs of the vast majority of our learners right out of the gate. And our screeners are important in ensuring that that's happening. And for our social emotional learning, we have to remember that this is not an add-on to our academics. It is the engine that allows academic learning to happen. We are focusing on K-4 to build those foundational self-regulation skills early and often. By aligning our practice with the 5 CASEL competencies, such as self-awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and fostering student agency, we're teaching students how to be an active participant in their own learning. When students feel a sense of agency and inclusion, they are more engaged, more resilient, and ultimately more successful academically. So these aren't just three separate boxes, they are all interconnected. A student who feels confident in their SEL skills is more willing to take risks in math. A student who masters reading by grade 3 can access the entire curriculum. This is our roadmap for narrowing the achievement gap and ensuring every student has what they need to thrive. On this slide, we need to be looking ahead of how do we make this actionable. In math and ELA, our focus for 26-27 is moving from installing these programs and screeners to mastering them and really ensuring that they drive all of our instructional decisions. By utilizing our district math council and the year 4 of our literacy HQIM, we aren't just giving teachers books. We are ensuring that we're providing them with intense coaching and real-time data. We're ensuring that Tier 2 interventions isn't a separate track, but a seamless bridge that keeps our most struggling learners, especially our students with disabilities, moving at grade level pace. Mrs. Baker O'Brien noted that a student who does not feel safe and supported within their social emotional realm cannot learn effectively in our classrooms. Our expansion of the teen mental health training and the digital playbook ensures that SEL isn't an extra. It is, again, the fuel of our academic engine. Similarly, for our students with disabilities, we are doubling down on universal design within our classrooms. We are building classrooms where the ceiling is high for everyone, but the floor is supported by centralized data and vertical aligned IEP goals. In closing, I want to be very clear about our commitment to the community. Every dollar spent in our SOA funding and at every hour of professional development is being filtered through one of these lenses, that students matter and it has to have student impact. We aren't just aligning funds, we are building a system where a student's zip code of learning and or learning disability does not dictate their destiny. We have the right materials, we are hiring the right experts, and we are using the data to stay honest about our challenges. We are ready for 2027, and we are confident that our students will continue to rise to the high expectations that we have set out for them. Thank you for letting us share our update on the SOA report.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Any thoughts? No, would like to start. I have questions. Okay. I'll start with SEL. So I think it said there were still 80 post-test students identified that were not meeting the achievement level. Are they identifiable so that they can be targeted help, or is it anonymous? I guess.
No, we know who those students are.
Okay.
Yep.
So what are those steps below, those 4 things that were listed below, teen mental health training and the committee?
So those children would go through the SST process, and based on the data that's presented to the team, they would then identify the most appropriate tier 2 supports. And then, you know, over a period of time, as we're collecting more data, and it's hard sometimes, like, I'm going to use the example of a child with ADHD, right? And let's say they can't sit still and they get up a lot, right? Let's say in a given class they get up 20 times. If they get down to 15, they're making effective progress, right? And then we're going to stay consistent with that behavior or that intervention plan to bring that down. We may never get to extinction, but the goal is to get it so that the child is able to stay within the classroom and be available for learning. So yes, we would identify those kids that, because we've created our own internal app and that we meet regularly with all the counselors. That information, by the way, is shared from one team to another as a child transitions. I think that's one of the most important things, is that information not get lost. And why we pushed really hard to, you know, to come up with a consistent approach, a consistent plan for our students. So I can assure you, every spring, which will happen in the end of May, I bring the counselors from the 2 elementaries to meet with the Center Elementary School, the Center Elementary to the Ryan to the Wynn to the high school. So we share the information. That is shared only between the counselors and the administrators, because it's some of that information we have to safeguard and on the benefit of the student.
And Mrs. Bailey-Smith, if I can piggyback on that, I think that what you see through the presentation is that we're taking it both from a proactive approach with looking at curriculum, resources, and screeners, starting at the K-4 level around the CASEL competencies to build out those skills, along with almost a reactive approach that we have teen mental health supports going into place to identify when we see a student in crisis, especially at the upper grades. So we're taking it from 2 different perspectives right now to look at how do we look at human capital within the district and include both a proactive approach starting K up, but also as students may need additional supports through our screeners, that we also are building that toolbox for our secondary teachers.
Okay, thank you. So I think you say the ADHD, so this is going to piggyback on my next question. So the expanded instructional time to the 120 minutes,
Yes.
how does that, I guess, play into those things? Because it's obviously great and you see benefits there, but it obviously must also play into some of these kids that have trouble.
It goes back to the planning, UDL, how are lessons planned to meet those students' needs. Can you just, for a quick update, just list what those core competencies are, what are being rated in student strengths and areas of need? Because I'm not sure, Mr. Lloyd, and you're going to get a lot of education on acronyms and things.
So,
So I named, can say them.
yeah, so self-awareness, self-management, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, and
Conflict resolution.
it might be conflict resolution, yes.
Relations with others.
Right,
Yeah.
so the students, based on the assessment, they'll get a score, and so there's the red, green, and then like the kids who are above. So, you know, for my perspective, even a child who may be okay, let's say in the average, they could be low average and they could still benefit from building those skills. So what this assessment with the DESA does allow also is some building-based identified areas that the entire building could benefit from based on the scores. So that information is just shared with the buildings at the end of the year. So as the kids move from one grade level to another, at the start of the school year, they can take that information and start right from the get-go of what those children need to better support them from the start of the school year to build on. And then, again, the individual identification would start in October. And that's essential for especially our younger kids, where the teachers are rating. It's essential for them to get to know the children a little bit before they start rating the child.
Right, makes sense. Yeah, thank you. And I got a math question, couple of questions. So the first one, I think we kind of like scooched past the slide, but the TMHS, the 0 out of 4 on, I think, sorry, I gotta scroll back down. So is that, yeah, math achievement, TMHS had a lower performing student, 0 out of 4 points earned.
Oh, and the accountability data.
In the account, yeah. So I guess, can you explain that a little bit? Everywhere else seemed like it either improved a little bit or at least there were some points earned in all of those. I guess I don't understand that one.
So this, do you want to answer, do you want me?
So we end up, I think you have the full slide deck with the hidden slides as well, and that was one that we didn't. But accountability data, we went back and forth with what data to share and what was purposeful for what we were trying to accomplish within the SOA plan. And we went back and forth about how meaningful is MCAS data in this conversation. So if you could remember from our fall presentation, that slide talks about accountability data. And when you look at, you get points from 0 to 4 based on meeting and exceeding targets or not meeting targets. So what ended up happening with mathematics is that from last year, the target that was set for us, we did not meet. So, and because of the gap between where the target was and where our current scores were, that meant we got a 0 based on the target set for us. So it's all individual based on every district in the state. So that totality of accountability ratings tells a district whether or not they'd be in need of additional assistance and if that they met their target. So when we're looking at math at the high school did not meet their targets. So as we're thinking about the math curriculum council that is meeting right now, we know, we talked about it in the spring, math is our area within this district that we knew we had to take on. And that's why our curriculum council this year is about mathematics, and it's going to be a multi-year council to look everywhere, K through 12, what our needs are. For the SOA plan, our SOA plan funding went to screeners, and our screeners are K through 6. So that's why we end up saying, should we include our high school accountability right now? I don't think it came into the final presentation that is printed for, or on the, that we recorded. But the energy right now is to look at that early and often through the screener data, which we set out for the SOA plan. That being said, our math council is still looking at K-12 needs, including why did we not meet our target and what has to happen? Okay. So, you know, a guaranteed and viable curriculum is one of the things that the math council is looking at right now. Are we guaranteeing every student in every class is getting that same curriculum around the same standards? And is it viable? When you look at a lot of the purchased curriculum out there, they build it for 180 days. That is not realistic. When you look at, let's look at Thanksgiving week. Monday, Tuesday, half day Wednesday. We have a half day on Friday. We have a half day before vacation. You're not getting 180 solid days of instruction around all curriculum areas. So as you're thinking about what's viable around our calendar, we really have to make a curriculum that matches our calendar around power standards, or which are those most important standards that you can't move to the next grade level without. And that's the work of the Math Curriculum Council, is that they're doing that heavy thinking right now, and then looking at, are the resources in our district currently meeting our needs any further? So it will be a multi-year council that's looking at these pieces about the why. Why do we not hit
Okay.
our targets?
Can I add a piece to this that those of you that have been along the journey are going to remember? If you remember, our LEA determination cited us for having too many students in partial inclusion and a lower percentage in full inclusion. And if you remember, because this is a continuum, it's not just the brand new thing and this thing, it's a constant continuum of that data. And all these pieces go together. And if you remember last year, Ms. Tharrett was able to report we had increased that full inclusion number. That's critical, that when we talk about the curricular resources we're going to use, that every student is getting access to that high quality, tier 1 resource early and often and all the way through. Because if we're pulling them out of the room and they're not getting the same, right, we're going to see that gap only get larger. So I want to bring that little piece up because that's significant accomplishment in a short time that really is, I think, impacting the growth you're seeing.
Okay. And then my last question, sorry, is also for math. The slide with the blue and the yellow and the bars, are those a like for like in terms of grade level? So obviously it's a significant growth between 24, 25, 25, 26. But I guess my question is, are there levels that require more targeted support? Like when you look at it, obviously you can see the, is it a like for like graph? There's no labels on it, so I wasn't able to tell.
That's one grade level.
Okay. One grade level, different classes.
Each bar is a teacher, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not, so a third teacher isn't the same as the third teacher on the other graph. It's
Okay.
just sorted by growth. So it was mostly just looking at overall our impact on the team through our scope and sequencing. We did a lot of work with scope and sequencing based on that guaranteed and viable. Our curriculum wasn't necessarily viable. We were trying to do too much, and the teachers were trying to do too much and making decisions on their own, and I'll do this and I'll do that. So we got the team together. High quality teachers doing great work needed to be sort of directed in a way. And then the other piece was the intensive coaching to help them through that, and all that work led to that growth.
Okay, yeah, and I see now that it's, I just glanced over the word grade level, but yeah, that's there. So, okay, thank you. I appreciate all the
And
questions.
Mrs. Baker-Jones-Smith, I think that what is most powerful is that the 2024 data, that was the grade level that struggled most, that had the lowest data. And through using screeners, guaranteed and viable curriculum, targeted coaching and support, you can see that those students coming in should have been around the 50th percent mark. That's our typical average growth. That's what we want of all students. What you saw is not only did they hit the high end of the range, but 7 out of 9 classes or 8 out of 10, how many are on this graph, exceeded what the students should have been able to do based on all of that triangulation of all of those pieces together. So it's such a great success story to share.
Yeah, it's a good. Thank you.
Well,
No. It's the meat and potatoes of what we do, so it's important.
No, you're hitting a lot of questions that everybody has. Mr. Lloyd and Mr. Mercado?
Yeah, sure. Just with regards to everything we can do for early intervention. Excuse me. I know that's a focus. I appreciate the priority areas and for ELA and SEL, we're trying to build on early. So I appreciate that. One question I did have was the SEL steering committee. Who's in that?
Oh, that's made up of both district administrators and teachers across various grade bands.
Like what teachers?
We have teachers from the Wynn, we have from the Ryan, we have the Heathbrook, the Dewing. We do not have a high school teacher. We try.
Okay.
In a varying content areas. It's
That's
not
what I was
only a
wondering.
counselor
Yeah,
group, for
sure.
example, because sometimes people do confuse that SEL growth or social emotional learning and development is a special education initiative. It's obviously all students. And
And you have to
in all areas.
Right, sorry.
Nope.
These councils, these teacher councils, part of the strategic plan are new this year, and what we're noticing is that we've had somewhat of a slow roll with teachers participating. I know that we have 4 councils running at the same time right now, and even through the word of mouth, people have been asking to come on to some of these councils mid-year. I do believe that as the teachers see that it is purposeful, beneficial, and action-oriented, I think the continuation next year, you'll see more people wanting to be part of these councils to have better representation from all the buildings.
Yeah, okay,
That's a
great.
hope.
Yeah, I'm all set, thank you.
Just some quick things. With the ELA, I'm just looking at the graph here. The students with disabilities, they seem to be holding steady for a while, and then I mean, it was a small percentage dip, but it's looking at the graph, they're 42 percentile, maybe 43. So, and I know there's plans and everything in place, but I just want everyone to know that those students aren't going to be left behind. They're not going to be looked at differently or treated any different. They're going to be brought into the whole system just so they can at least feel like they're being encouraged, they're being seen and discussed, and they're not just going to be dropped off, because that just happens with trends. And people may feel that if they just happen to look by, see the graph, and be like, oh, they're dropping, and now they're going to lose that interactive piece that they may need just to get themselves on the right trajectory again.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah.
So we oftentimes really push for our students to remain in the classroom as much as possible,
Right.
and we do a lot of encouraging our providers to do more push-in. And we really need to work harder, I think, at educating the community on when a child receives so many of their services outside, they are going to lose out on the curriculum happening in the classroom.
Right,
So
yeah.
I do think we're doing a better job at that, but we really need to educate the community and our families on what kids miss out on when they're out of the classroom so much. So that's not always the better model for our students.
Right, and that's kind of where I was looking at. There's different factors that play into it, that could play into it, that, again, if you're just looking at it, you're not going to get the whole picture.
Yeah, it was hard for me to see that as well.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there was a math thing, but it was on one of the slides that we saw, so I'm not gonna dig into that.
But Mr. Lloyd, I think to your point, one of the data points that we have been tracking since our third-party audit was that our inclusionary numbers, as Ms. Terry O'Regan has said, were lower than what was expected in the state. And through bringing that data to our teams, and we are changing the mindset around why do we want students, why do we want all students to have that common experience together as much as possible, and then the double dip when needed.
Right.
And our numbers have shown an increase of students being included in the classroom, more so over the last few years. So our data has been improving.
Right.
So.
If I could just jump in one too, for the social emotional piece, we've worked hard with the teachers to develop calming corners of sections in the room where a child who is experiencing that they need to have a little bit of a break, they can do that and still be in that classroom and hear that instruction, because as Candace said, when they leave that classroom to get that support, now they're missing key instruction pieces. So we're continuing to do this work.
The only other thing I was going to say is that we're also really looking at our Tier 2 instruction and curriculum. And so we're asking teachers to do more of the same at a higher intensity instead of asking them to do something different,
Right.
which then is confusing to the
Right,
student.
exactly.
So we're really working hard on that as well.
That's it.
All right, so thank you all really for being here. This is awesome information. A few questions just based on kind of stuff cumulatively that I picked up. So are you not using Aperture any longer?
No, we are still doing Aperture. So Aperture is the company, it's actually now bought out by Riverside Education. We are still using, Aperture has the DESA platform.
Okay,
So it's just, the DESA is the screener.
okay.
So,
Just curious, okay.
yeah, no, we still use it.
Okay, so that's where the data still comes from?
Correct.
Okay. and then you're using other tools that.
Correct.
in-house
So the other thing is I had built an internal website that houses a variety of supports for teachers, SEL supports. There's a ton on there for the teachers so that they can go in and get those resources at their fingers. There is built-in curriculum in the Aperture platform for teachers to utilize. Part of the struggle is they don't feel as robust as they would like. That's why we are looking at other platforms. And so far, I would say one of the platforms we're looking at in the committee is coming out like amazing. Teachers are loving it. So, will there be a shift potentially? If the screener is also, or will it be an add-on? I'm not sure. It'll depend on where the committee falls by the end of the school year.
Great, that's interesting. Good to know. And then for the math, how are you feeling that so I'm really happy to see the advancement and where things are moving. It's hard, I think where we sit, I think I'm really excited to see the direction. I'm excited to see the collaboration. When I saw that it was part of the district goals, and that how you were approaching it, that kind of had me really excited in the approach, and I'm glad that it's working out and the teachers are buying into it and that it's really being actionable and good. So I sit here in this place and think, wow, this is great. But if I had a student that falls somewhere on the bar graph, it still hurts. So I think if my student's here in this bar graph, how are you supporting that student right now until you get that high quality math, curriculum really in place, without using all the crazy buzzwords that I'm just so tired of hearing. That's robust or whatever word somebody wants to throw. Because I think, until we have what's really right, the way we've got EL right, we're kind of figuring it out, right? So, how are you differentiating what you need in the classroom? What does it look like in the classroom right now? What's it looking like, I guess, is what I'm asking.
It's not that we don't have high-quality materials now and that we don't have good instruction now. I think these screeners have helped us to identify much better where our gaps have been. So you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So we are now able to really target, and that's a really good example because I didn't necessarily know that we knew that there was, the MCAS scores are that autopsy data, and we're saying, I wonder why that's occurring. And it's really hard to see those patterns year after year, and there's so many confounding items or elements that could contribute to it. So this is just another piece of data. And the other piece that we're working on with our strategic plan is our common assessments and building our teachers' understanding of how that can help us to also get more data to help us target where we're moving. So the more data we have and the more strategic we are and using that data to make purposeful decisions is really what's helping the most. So it's not that we don't have the tools, it's that we didn't necessarily know how to use them. Not that we didn't know how to use them, but that we're using them a little bit more strategically.
Okay, and I'm sorry if I misspoke. I guess it's just that students aren't where they need to be. I'll just say that.
Yeah, not all.
And I think the district was there with literacy at one point. I feel like we might be kind of there right now with math, a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
It is very fair to say. In fact, you heard a little bit about math interventionists being brought into play now, coaches, and definitely professional development support for our teachers, because, Jason talked about a nationally normed, we didn't have it, we needed it. And then a state normed, which is our MCAS, which is, again, is autopsy data. And now at the local level, teachers are starting to understand why that data leads into needed support, needed practice. It's all a connected process, but the supports that are there for our teachers now are stronger than ever. this data shows where they need to be for those students, and that's the key, is inside the classroom. And then keeping all of them in the classroom, we talked about that, keeping our students in the room, and then how do we help the teachers' instructional practice align to the students there? That's where the data has to be used.
Well, and I guess as a committee, I just want to say, I'm not saying at all that anybody hasn't been doing the work, because
No.
I know that the teachers are outstanding, the work is there, the curriculum's there. But as a committee, I think we need to make a commitment to you as the administrators and to the teachers that are in the classroom, whatever we can do to support you, whether that's through the curriculum programming, or any other way that you see that the needs are there. So whether that's coming through the Math Council or in other ways. So I guess I just want to publicly say that, our commitment needs to be there, and we need to be united in that. So we need to rise above some of the other priorities that we have and put math up there. So that's where I'm coming at with that for you, Mr. Smith. So that's my math soapbox right now. And then the next was money in general. When we talk about some of the UDL stuff, what do you foresee kind of being some of the bigger costs?
So when we're thinking about upcoming costs, when we think about curriculum assessment and instruction, there will probably be curriculum asks over the next. We are looking as a team through 2030 and looking at how we're going to layer some of the needs coming up to spread it out. But through the ELA adoption, which was only K-6, that was what?
$750,000 over 6 years. I mean, it's a 6-year program,
Right.
and we need to think through that
Right.
full 6 years
Right.
and put math into the cycle.
Put math into the cycle, because that cost is going to come back up in 2030. So that's why we're doing the work now. So when we think about budgetary pieces there, along with that, we talked about, if you read the strategic plan, we know that if we want to do this work more deeply, we are going to have to be looking at a data platform that houses and triangulates student information from knowing that students are on IEPs, knowing students have a second language, knowing students have services, and then triangulating our MCAS data versus our common assessment data versus our normed assessment data. We have to be able to see student profiles more easily, and that's in the strategic plan coming up over the next few years. You see that with better data, we can make better decisions. And then when we're thinking about all of that, professional development for teachers, we can do a lot internally, but we can only do so much with the limited amount of time that we have within our calendar. So we have to think really strategically, just like we did this year, that we had 3 big buckets: universal design for learning, our common assessments, and language objectives. And those 3 buckets we have to hold tight to and really dive deeper, because we know those are high leverage practices. So we want to ensure that through our professional development time that we have and or additional time that we need, that would be something that may be a cost. And you also saw from Jason's presentation that we did a lot with that 1 grade level with coaching. Coaching is invaluable within a district, because when you're thinking about on-site professional development, that's where coaching comes in. So there's your PD cost internally, and I think that Mrs. Terry-O'Regan would say, along with every director at this table, that we can never get rid of the coaching that we have. And if there was ever additional funding, to put additional coaches into the district, because that's where the embedded professional development in teachers' classrooms every day, they don't want to be pulled out to go to a one-time conference. If we see targeted areas, it's really helpful to have those people, boots on the ground, to help with our kids and our teachers. So off the top of my head, I think that would be somewhat of my soapbox.
Yeah, we would certainly work with the town. I say we, you all, and Dr. Milligan and this amazing team will work with the town on those major expenses.
Right.
I mean, the cost of new curriculum materials is extreme. We have, obviously the support of the town when it comes to capital improvements. when these big purchases come to play, you'll need to work with our town manager to talk that through. But that 6-year cycle is what's critical, because then you can predict about what you'll be needing along the way.
Okay, thank you. And I guess my last plug, I think in some of these listening sessions that we've had some really great feedback from families, some really sophisticated conversations with families about curriculum. And I think that there's a thirst and just an interest in some families wanting to know more about what their kids are learning in the classroom. So if there's any willingness from some of our really experienced teachers or anybody else that would be interested in sharing anything about the curriculum that's in the classrooms, I think that there's
Math instruction is always that enigma to parents who have not learned math the way their their children are learning it. So I do think there's value in that.
Yeah, that, and then I think, I think also too, some of the curriculum too that you've brought in that is teaching, that's embedding some ELA in other content areas, which I think is kind of fascinating and unique. So, things that we've learned here, and I'm sure they're watching our meetings and know.
Yes.
But for those few people that aren't. But yeah, so I don't know, I think you guys are the group to tell and share that with, at some point, and maybe that's not for this year, because it feels like we're winding down the year. I hate to say it's April 15th, but it might be too late now, but maybe it might be a plan for next year. Because I think there's just, hearing how sophisticated people were, I was really kind of blown away when somebody came in with like paperwork and was like, so let me talk to you about math. And I was like, wow, you know a lot about math. So, yeah, anyways, that's it. That's my last thought. Anything else? Thank you guys so much for your time. I didn't expect to keep you here this long. Thank you. I always love having you guys. Thank you. Okay, citizens forum, I'm not seeing anybody. And approval of minutes, so that will bring us to our new clerk. I'm interested in,
I wasn't here for the.
Can he motion if he's new on the old? Okay.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I don't mind making a motion this time, and
would you like to?
And in lieu of.
Wait for motion.
Yeah. All right, Madam, I would like to make a motion to approve the March 18th, 2026 budget public hearing and regular business meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
I'll abstain.
abstain, so we have that would be 3 ayes and 1 abstention. And just, I don't think I said this at the start of when I took on the meeting, but Mr. Cutlass is not joining us here tonight, so just to say that publicly. And then the submission and payment of bills. Would you take that as well?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the payroll period ending March 26th, 2026 in the amount of $1,778,799.29.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Mrs. B.J. Smith, a second from Mr. Moncada to approve and certify the payroll period ending March 26, 2026, total amount of $1,778,799.29. And then it's going to roll call vote. Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
I'll abstain.
Okay. Mr.
Aye.
Moncada? Mrs. B.J.
Aye.
Smith, and I vote aye as well. So it's 3 ayes, 1 abstention.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the payroll period ending April 9th, 2026 in the amount of $1,772,476.60.
Did you say 60?
60.
60.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, a motion from Mrs. Joy Smith and a second by Mr. Moncada to approve and certify the payroll period April 9th, 2026, total amount $1,772,476.60. Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
I'll abstain.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. B.J. Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye, so that's 1 abstention and 3 ayes. Okay, And Superintendent Staff Report, Mrs.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. We do have several updates tonight. I'll try to move quickly and succinctly through them. First and foremost, I have to give a shout out to the Center Elementary School's production of Wonka 2 weeks ago. The show was simply amazing, with 144 fourth graders having roles in the play. I had the opportunity of spending time backstage with the entire cast and some volunteer middle schoolers and high schoolers who were just amazing in their care and inspiration to our student performers. The stage was simply magical. If you saw it, thanks to Jen Barbady and her, the art teacher at the center, and her husband, who volunteered to help build the stage. The cast singing, dancing, and stage performances were stellar. Many thanks goes out to all the CES directors, too many to name. I'll just say Jay, Joanne, Rose, Shelley, Beth, and so many staff and volunteers that helped bring this performance to light. Last week, thank you for allowing our team, Ms. Rawlinson, Dr. Milligan, Principal Bosworth, and myself to attend the Title I Spring Conference. It was a 2-day grant-funded conference focused on strengthening the district's strategic planning process and driving the plan towards a stronger Tier 1 MTSS delivery in all classrooms and school settings. These are obviously major objectives you're hearing a lot about, including tonight, that really helped us frame our work ahead as the DLT works towards our end-of-year June retreat. In fact, the conference built in some planning time that we needed for our DLT sessions and leading up to that June work. So I really applaud the work of Dr. Milligan, Ms. Rawlinson, and Ms. Bosworth, as they are a dedicated team of administrators who took advantage of this information and tools shared with us to strengthen our collective practice. April truly highlights wellness for our students in so many ways. Tomorrow, teachers from the Tewksbury Memorial High School and the Wynn Middle School will be attending the Mass Voice Summit hosted by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed, DESE. This is a statewide gathering that brings together students, educators, and community partners to elevate the role of student voice in shaping safe, supportive, and healthy learning environments from preschool through grade 12. Teachers Chrissy Souder and Peter Malloy will be bringing 6 high school students who are working on the grant-funded Teen Mental Health and First Aid Initiative. The high school's Julie Fabiano, together with the middle school Bill's Fabiano, will be bringing 3 high school students as well as 3 8th grade students from the WIN, all who have implemented a grant-funded service learning SEL health curriculum unit. The teacher and student participants can expect a full day of learning, collaboration, student performances, interactive breakout sessions, and so much more. I really want to thank Dr. Basteri for continuing to find these opportunities that really help have our students have a voice in social-emotional well-being and belonging for all. April is also Alcohol Awareness Month. The Tewksbury School District Wellness Committee has prepared flyers and information that has been shared with our students and in the school newsletters for parents. And on that topic of student health and safety, I'm sure you, our high school parents here at the table, received a letter from Principal Long communicating the installation of vape detectors at the Tewksbury Memorial High School in the bathrooms. These detectors are in both student and staff bathrooms in the goal of deterring vaping and maintaining safe and healthy bathroom environments for all our school members. The letter detailed the Mass General Law prohibiting smoking of any kind in and on school property. The school administration plans on due diligence when a student and/or staff member is in violation of the law. In addition, the school will follow the student handbook for vape infractions, and with that, the Tewksbury Memorial High School administration and the healthcare providers in the school also recognize that we do have students and staff addicted to their e-cigarettes. That's why today the student advisory block included further education for all students on the dangers of vaping. The school also has shared out the Mass Get Outrage site for parents to learn more on the dangers of vaping. After the education portion of the advisory, students participated in a questionnaire to gauge their thoughts on what they learned. The Tewksbury Memorial High School administration will share that end-of-year data to gauge, they're going to do a post survey at the end of the year to gauge the impact of the vape detectors. Madam Chair, I think it's really important to note that the Principal Student Advisory Group assisted Principal Long with this rollout and the student questionnaire. I'm happy that the students are having a voice and helping to make the school a little healthier for all. The senior project, as you heard from Maggie, kicked off last week on April 9. In preparation for the senior project, students were guided through the Tewksbury Memorial High School Senior Project website located on the school's guidance page. They were guided through choosing one of three types of experiences: an externship, which is an off-site experience, maybe at a job place, a community service project, or a research project. Seniors are expected to do 30 hours per week or a reduced load of 10 hours per week if they're still attending advanced placement or dual enrollment courses at the high school. They also chose an advisor to guide them through the 6-week project and with whom they are accountable to check in with weekly during their off-campus experience. Students also took the mandatory pre-project survey that identifies the project they chose and why, the supports they are predicting themselves they may need, and ultimately how we can improve the entry process for our future seniors. Principal Long also reviewed the expectations for staff advisors through his last faculty meeting so that they would know what they should be doing while students are out on the project. The mandatory post-survey identifies feedback from not only the seniors as a result of their project, but we'll also have a post-survey for parents to express their opinion and feedback on how this project went for their child. It's important to note that this is not only a project experience, but also for our students to experience the independence and accountability they will soon have while on their own in the post-high school journey of college, career, or the military. Currently, of our 188 seniors, 175 seniors are registered for the senior project. Approximately 120 of them are still attending advanced placement or dual enrollment courses, so they will have at least a minimum of 10 hours a week. Some are choosing more. The Senior Project Expo is on May 29th from 8 to 10:30 here at the high school, and you are, of course, all welcome to attend and hear from our seniors on their experience. As I said, Principal Long will come to us, if it pleases you, Madam Chair, probably at the June meeting and provide you with the data, the pre-post data on the vape detectors as well as the senior project. Matters of personnel. In your consent agenda, you'll see we have been very busy filling several support positions in the district. If you remember, we have key new district leadership team positions coming on board for next school year. I've already announced our new Director of Student and Family Support last meeting, Miss Angela Lawler-Brennan. Tonight, I'm also pleased to announce that we have secured the next principal of the Wynn Middle School, Mr. Steven Serapina. Mr. Serapina comes to us with extensive experience in both middle school and high school leadership. We plan to have a meet and greet with Steven and the members of the Wynn Middle School community, as well as succession planning with the current middle school administrative team prior to the summer break. I'll also make sure you're apprised of meet and greets that we'll have at the Wynn Middle and work with you, Madam Chair, on which school committee meeting you'd like us to bring in these new leadership members so we can meet them all at once and you can hear a little bit more about them. In addition, we have officially posted for our soon-to-be-opened Assistant Superintendent of Schools position to replace Dr. Milligan as she takes the reins of Superintendent on July 1st. Given this transition, it's important that Nancy serves as the lead on this hiring team to find the right partner and the right fit for TPS in our ongoing strategic planning and the work needed for the future of our schools. It is our goal to have that process completed and to secure a finalist recommendation to you, members of the school committee, at the latest for the May 27th school committee meeting. We also expect to post for the role of business manager by or before the end of April as well. As you know, Mr. Libby will be retiring in the fall of next school year. In your consent agenda, you will also see donations. Let me go to that. Donations. Sorry, here we go. Donations to our robotics team. This will require a roll call vote. Let me just quickly say for these donors, they deserve their names to be mentioned. Holton Bugby is donating $5,000. The Tewksbury Cultural Council is donating $2,000. Haas in the amount of $3,000. Sky Pulse is donating $1,000. PTC is donating $1,000 as well. And Jerry Gustus is donating $150. This totals $12,150 in donations to our robotics team. We are all so grateful to their generous donations that support this team. need the donations to fulfill their challenges and competitions with their every year redesigned robot. We plan to have the robotics team to show you that robot sometime later in the spring. But with that, this will require a roll call vote, Madam Chair. Would you like to wait and do this at the conclusion of my report, which includes the consent? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Madam Chair, also in our joint workshop on April 1st, both the school committee and the select board voted to have me as superintendent submit a statement of interest to the Massachusetts School Building Authority. So again, acronyms, we're going to have to give you a dictionary, SOI, to the MSBA to be considered for a school renovation, addition, and or replacement project due to the significant needs of the Dewing and Heathbrook schools. Tonight, I simply wanted to update you, the committee, that I am on target to finish and submit the SOI by the deadline of this Friday, April 17th. Finally, spring is a very busy time in our schools. Madam Chair, we continue to update the TPS school events spreadsheet for you and members of the school committee. Mr. Lloyd, we prepare this end-of-year list and all through the year list of events so the school committees are fully informed of culminating celebrations and divide and conquer, if you will. Going to those celebrations, as everyone certainly can't be expected to make every event. I prepared the paper version for you now because I think we are in the midst of sharing many links and documents with you as you onboard. So with that concludes my updates for tonight.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
I appreciate the update on the vape detectors because I know I asked about that last week. Maybe, or last meeting, excuse me. Maybe a question for Mr. Libby. So they're hardwired in when so if they go off, what's the notification? Like how does?
So they are
Bluetooth
battery
thing?
operated, and there's a
Yes.
notification console that the high school team will determine who will get those notifications. And then from there, then the team would respond to whatever vape detector has gone
Okay.
off. So they're silent.
Yeah.
They have cages around them that are, tamper-proof and all of that. But everyone would get an email notification as soon as one of them went off.
Okay.
And they detect different particulates differently.
Correct.
Sure.
And you know what, with that, we should make sure you all have that letter that went home, so let me make sure that I get that to you.
Sure. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, the play for the fourth grade play, and I know we say this every year. It would be great if fifth and sixth grade that could be parlayed into fifth and sixth grade somehow.
Yeah, maybe in
Because
the
those,
works.
because I know those kids are so jazzed about it. Some of them are really, really good.
Yeah.
Like they're all really good. Excuse me, but some of them are really, really good. And so I can only imagine that they would want to, like I said, parlay that into something.
And it's not.
There's a gap.
You are absolutely
So-
right. And while it may not be a play or a musical, there has to be some level of performing arts occurring all the way through, and that is definitely in discussion.
Yeah.
The new music teacher at the Ryan School participated and supported, and was part of the entire production, and is already thinking with Mr. Harding, how can we continue with some sort of production or.
And with
Yeah.
Mr. Murphy, obviously.
I saw Miss Pellegrino scouting, so
Very much so.
yeah. Well, anyway, so that was all. I think I'm all set then. Appreciate it.
I have two things. One, and I only know this because I have a kid in the play. The Win play is not on that main
Ooh, we'll
spreadsheet.
have to,
So they,
Yeah, nor on their calendar yet.
Okay.
On their school website.
it's not there either. It's the 7th and 8th of May, at the Win School. That's the Flawless Learnings. And then they are performing at the METG on the 9th. And like I said, I know that because I have a kid there, but, I know this town loves to
That's a
support
good
the
catch.
drama programs, so there's that. And then, Ms. Regan, if you could maybe ask, Mr. Long, when he comes in, about maybe clarifying how the advisory portion works, and just so he's prepared when he comes in to talk about senior project. I'm not I know I bring up the senior project all the time. And my high school students are already telling me to stop talking about it because they're really excited for it in the future. But I would just like to understand it more, and I think there are other parents who would like to understand it more. How the advisory portion works, how the selection process works for what they get to choose, prove to choose. I love that there's a survey this year that will be shared with us, so I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, I'm not anti-senior project, I just would like to understand it
Good
more.
question. It would be
So-
wonderful if we get some students here to explain that as well, because I think hearing from the student perspective from start to finish, how they navigated the process and then what it meant to them, but they are gone by the time we catch
Well,
them.
and I attend the expo and I talk to
Sure,
a
yeah.
number of them, and you hear, mixed reviews, and you can see from your own perspective, the amount of work that some put in versus others. So that advisory piece to me seems to be the part that I'm missing, that brings it all together. So just so that he's prepared when he comes in and it's not an ask on the spot type of thing. That's all. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd, did you have anything?
No, I had not.
Thank you for the update. I'm particularly interested in the bionic project at the Ryan that's coming up. I don't know what this is. This looks new to me. Keep me posted.
Okay,
It's on 5/7.
I see it.
5/7 TBD. I don't know, I like new things.
So that one too.
There's been a renewed sense of STEAM and science at the Ryan. We're seeing a theme. There was a STEAM night as well as science heroes assemblies, which we weren't able to get to, but we're seeing a pattern. So I'd love to know more too.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know, I just, something new jumped out at me. Pickleball event looked exciting, and I wasn't able to, it looks like that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow
No
morning.
one's going to talk about that.
Oh, sorry about that. See, I keep jumping all over you. I'm just one ahead. And I missed this when I skipped, oh man, how did I miss this? But I missed that there were 2 retirees happening.
Right. Yeah.
Mrs. Borges and Mrs. Enos.
Mrs. Enos in 2 years, Miss Borges this year. Right.
Yeah, so yeah, those are hurting my heart. So I don't know, I missed it. I just saw it as you were talking, and anyway. So I just wanted to say to publicly that they're both amazing, outstanding people in the district. So those are
Yeah.
I'm happy for them because I know they've got big lives. But yeah, it's crazy. I missed it. Okay. And happy for the donations, so happy to move on to the consent agenda, if anybody wants to do that real quick.
Yeah,
Move on to.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, including the donations.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Malcata?
Aye.
And Ms. B. Jones Smith?
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and the consent agenda is accepted. And Dr. Milligan, if you'd like to.
Yeah. No, I was just going to, it wasn't really in my update, but was a reminder that pickleball is happening with USA Pickleball tomorrow morning at the Wynn Middle School. We had that lovely donation accepted last month. We do have about 15 people coming from Transworld USA who has sponsored the event, and about another 15 from USA Pickleball, and a PR firm that has their shot list ready to go for this wonderful event. So please feel free if you'd like to come by and see pickleball at the Wynn Middle School tomorrow. And on to my report. Similar to Mrs. Terry Regan, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank the committee for allowing me time out of the district to attend the Title I Administrator Conference last week. The conference reinforced our strategic plan, our goals, and our objectives. The theme across the conference really validated our prioritization of collective efficacy within our teachers and leadership-driven change, operating under the theme of the keynote, plans don't change schools, but leaders do. Our time across the keynote and breakout sessions reinforced our work, focusing on that systemic cycle of improvement that shifts adult behavior by starting with rigorous needs assessment and providing high-quality professional development. Things, Mrs. Garabedian, and that we've talked about may have budgetary impacts in the future. The sessions also reinforced our focus that by utilizing professional learning communities as vital feedback mechanisms and focusing on consistent power indicators, we are transforming our schools and our district into those active tools that help our leaders make better decisions every day. The disciplined focus on improving collective teaching practice is our primary lever, and we are using it to ultimately elevate our student outcomes across the entire district. So thank you again for letting me attend. Over the last month, we had many wonderful events that I was also able to attend, including CS's production of Wonka, the CS and Ryan STEAM night last week, and just this week, the CS Wax Museum. If you weren't able to attend, there is one more day tomorrow. The fourth grade students did an amazing job of researching and then presenting a historical figure with factual information, and that you could ask them any questions, and they were very, very well prepared. So kudos to the fourth grade students and to the teachers. Seeing our students showing what they know and engaging in meaningful activities is always a highlight of my days. Also, in your correspondence, you have the upcoming district-wide art show that will be on Friday, May 8th and Saturday, May 9th. Seeing some of the planning and themes that are emerging for the show, the art department is already outdoing themselves again with our students. So please mark your calendars to come to that event. And finally, you have the updated registered periods for the next school year, which moved one date in our grades 5 through 12 at trimester 3 period, report cards being issued, from April 26th to April 27th. This provides the principals with one extra day back from vacation to ensure everything is ready to be published that following day. We're asking for a vote on this calendar change. And thank you, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
What, the registered period, what was, this was the trimester 3?
Trimester 3 for grades 5 through 12. There was a change moving the date that the report cards would be issued from Monday, April 27th to Tuesday, Monday, April 26th to Tuesday, April 27th, because it's right when we get back from vacation.
Okay.
It gives our principals opportunity to review and check before things get published.
Yeah, okay. Got it. And I concur on the Wax Museum. I was there today. My daughter was Sally Ride.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, all the kids were great. So
Yeah.
it's good to see.
It's nice to be able to go over each day and take a peek of what's going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
It's fun. I had to Sally ride a few years ago.
Yeah, nice. Popular.
No questions. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Milligan. Mr. Libby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Few updates. It's very busy time right now in the business office. We have our new payroll person, Elise Edson, starting to tackle that octopus that is payroll. And she's been trained, helped, and given all the knowledge of our past payroll folks. Suzanne Caliendo is here tonight. Caitlin Paquette, who was our previous payroll person, and our HR person, Mara Rossio, really collaborating. Everyone's kind of pitching in, helping out, getting Elise up to speed. I just wanted to make sure they were thanked and recognized for their efforts. Very collaborative group we have in the business office. Elise is already tackling her new role and thinking about how she's going to spend some time training her replacement. So everyone's really just pitching in and making sure the work gets done, and just want to make sure we were recognizing that the above and beyond the call of duty that they're all undertaking right now in the office. We have 3 public bids that are sort of ongoing right now. Transportation for our in-district buses and vans and our extracurricular activities. Landscaping for this property at the high school and our Center Ryan complex, and our before and after school programming. They'll all be finalized shortly. We should have some results at our next meeting on those. Also, coming that time of year with a little over 2 months of school left, we're closing out our fiscal 26 year. I'll have a quarterly update also at our next meeting where we are through quarter 3, but it's getting to that time where we're, starting to hone in on the target of wrapping up the budget. We had some unexpected expenses. Our utilities jumped higher kind of than expected. Guess due to the sort of severe winter we had here, but we'll be able to manage those numbers with help of using some of our revolving funds if we need to get us through the end of the school year. Lastly, we had wanted to give you an update on a improvement we're making in our schools with regards to cell service. As you know, if you've been in any of our schools, very difficult to use cell phones. Just the construction of the building, the signals don't get through. Mr. Stamp worked with one of our cell providers, Verizon, and they had an engineer in, tested some areas of the building, came up with a plan that involved cell extenders that we can install in our schools. Basically provides like a mini cell tower within the school. They recommended 15 across the district. Initially, the price was a little prohibitive at $1,000 each. Verizon made an offer to fund half of those for free and then a 50% discount on the rest. And we got down to the low price of around $3,700. So it's not an unreasonable proposition to undertake for the rest of, to hopefully provide better cell service within our schools. It comes with a few complications where we don't want to provide unlimited, unfiltered access to the whole student population. We have an obligation to make sure that those anything that comes in via the internet is vetted. So we're going to work on the implementation and the rollout, but the good news is hopefully in an emergency situation, we'll be able to, people will be able to access cell phone service. It's something that the district security team had identified as a goal, and then I believe it was also in our district's strategic plan that was formulated over the summer. People were mentioning that cell phone service is difficult in the schools, so we're hoping that will improve that situation. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Appreciate it. I know we'll hear from you soon again. Correspondence and some informational topics, starting with the town crier article on the wellness fair.
Yeah.
And we talked about that already?
We did, and we also, we updated. It's a nice article, so we wanted you to see it, and you are
We already talked about the...
in the photo as well. But, and we gave an update on that amazing wellness fair at the last meeting. The article speaks to that.
Okay. Also, about all these items, consent agenda we voted on, and we're going on to our school committee member reports. So for the CPAC, we have Mrs. Peter.
We are actually meeting, what's today? Whatever Thursday is, it's not tomorrow. The day after tomorrow?
16th.
Yep, 16th tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Right, is that in person?
It is a virtual meeting. The information is on the Facebook page or emailed out to the members who receive emails.
Okay, great. Wellness Advisory Committee, Mr. Moncada?
Yeah, so we did meet at the beginning of the month. Obviously, we kind of went over the how the fair went, because that was our first meeting since. So just kind of like to keep that rolling. So that's something we'll try to plan for next year. One thing that was discussed was the wellness policy. It's I guess up for. There's like every 3 years there's a cycle. It has to kind of be looked at.
Okay.
And it's like some kind of an audit. I don't know if it's an MASC thing or a DESE thing. I think it might be DESE.
Has it really been 3 years?
Yeah. The last review was 23-24.
Okay.
Okay, wow, okay.
So that's going to be started on. I don't necessarily think it's a rewrite. It's just, are there any things that are missing? And then compare to MASC policy doesn't look to be updated. So it's like ours actually obviously is already more robust. So, and then you had asked to look at the membership and, are there gaps? Are there, are the right people there? The right people are invited. I'll leave it at that. The right people are invited. The one gap that, that did come out was student. There's really no student that comes to the meeting, or students. And I realize it's after school, so that may make it difficult or to find somebody that wants to come, but that is a gap, so.
And Madam Chair, if I may, you had suggested last year we hopefully search and recruit a middle schooler, someone who might want
Yeah.
to take that on for more than a year, and we were unsuccessful. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking maybe through lead nurse Kelly Constantino, we maybe look at some of her students in the nursing program
Yeah, that's a possibility, sure, yeah. Right.
and maybe
So-
a value to them.
Yeah. Or perhaps students that rotate, maybe students that are maybe not 3-season sports, or maybe they don't do all the plays, or
Right.
maybe they don't do all the esports, or maybe they're low season on robotics, or, like.
It could be even
students
something
are
as
involved in something.
student council at the schools could just have it on an agenda thing, and if there's something that they want to talk about, they pass along to us, or if there's questions. I mean, maybe attendance isn't necessary, but just to participate.
Some type of feedback.
And I just came up with that. That wasn't anything we discussed, just a thought. So
Just a comment, when I was on the committee in 24 or so, there was a student, but when we were meeting every other month, we tried to switch it out, but then you'd have someone come for one meeting and then you'd miss a month because every other month, and then there was a different student, and then
Things.
you'd miss a month and then be a different student, so we were always catching them up, it felt like. It was kind of weird.
sure.
It's just the way that
Yeah.
just the way it flowed. It was like you have to reintroduce whoever it is every single time. That was the only awkwardness of that approach at that time, but.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, well, thank you for looking at it.
Yep.
And then one other question I had for wellness. I love the flyer that you put out for the, around prom, and then just in general for Alcohol Awareness Month. There was a logo at the top. Is that a new logo for the Wellness Committee? Or was that just kind of a cute thing?
I did not see that until now, so I'm not sure who drafted this. If it was Kelly or I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
All right, I'm just curious
where they
if that's
pulled that
kind of a new thing moving forward, or is that just a one-time?
Nice.
Yeah, it's cute. Right, just curious. Right, that was my only comment. I liked it a lot, the flyer, especially the, including the community in that. I liked it.
And there are continued PSAs too for the rest of the school year. There's one a month. So
Oh, it's great.
yeah.
Great. Anybody else for wellness?
No.
And is there, I guess I'll go back to it. Is there a plan for that fair to continue or combine with
So
another, or?
well, so there is another one. So it's at the senior center. So I think I mentioned it because I thought maybe you had mentioned something to me about that as well. But I don't know, it's a little different. They're kind of their own thing. So I don't think there was necessarily like something that we would jump on to do it together. I think I think they're their own thing.
They've done different.
But I mean, I think everyone's like so excited about it, and we've had such good feedback on it. And I think everyone really would like to continue it as a yearly thing. I mean, it's something that it's tangible that the group,
Yeah.
comes up with. So
Okay, curious. Thank you.
yeah,
And then Tewksbury School Facility Study Committee, I'm actually going to defer to you, Mrs. Terry Regan. I think you might be able to update on this
Sure.
more succinctly than I can.
Within the updates, really, the process now, the report was given to the Facilities Study Committee. We had a meeting planned for, what was tomorrow, I believe, or was it last week? That was canceled. It's tomorrow. Canceled because at this point, it's really the statement of interest that needs to be submitted, and then once that's done, we can share that with everyone. And the future of the committee at that point, the mission will have been met, but of course, that's a decision that'll be made of the committee members.
So, yeah, I think my thinking is, I think we should defer to the select board at this point in terms of appointing to that committee until, see what the select board's, the will of the select board and the direction they take is my thinking. Or, kind of see what their thoughts are. I think I also just want to make a comment in our meeting here. I think we had a really successful combined meeting with the select board. I think that went well. I think, in terms of being able to gather information, be collaborative, and, take our votes and meet with JCJ and I want to say in and out.
A field?
Left field.
And New Vista Design, those were the consultants that joined in with JCJ in the report, the study in the report. The full report, by the way, has been posted to the TSFSC website, as is all the different reports and presentations now.
Okay.
So,
So the SOIs?
not the SOI, the full report from JCJ.
Oh, their
Yes,
report. Perfect.
yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, and so that's SFC. And then policy subcommittee, we meet on Tuesday over school vacation week. So that is the 17th,
no,
20th? 21st.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll be meeting there. So we'll come back to you with more policies at our next meeting. And that brings us to some policies, changes, proposals, and adoptions. So we have first, for some informational reading, reviews and/or revised, we have IJ, instructional materials, IJL, library materials selection and adoption, and IJLR, library media materials discard removal procedures. So these hadn't been looked at for kind of a long time. And these are just for, right now, informational reading. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts on these, we can discuss them. Otherwise, we can bring them back to the next meeting. Yeah, 2018 was the last time this one, some of these were looked at. Any discussion? Okay.
no.
And then for first reading, reviewed and/or revised, we have GCIA, Philosophy of Staff Development, and GCRD, Tutoring for Pay. And Mr. Lloyd, just, for logistical purposes, all of our policies come before the committee 3 times. So instead of just saying first reading, second reading, third reading, which would make a lot of sense, for some reason, through Robert's rules or I don't know, somebody's rules, these come before us as informational reading, first reading, and second reading, and so second reading is when we go on. Just in case there's any, confusion for anybody that else is curious. So this first reading reviewed or revised, any question on these two topics? Any two policies, rather? Okay. And then for first and final reading, now these were two policies that we reviewed with minimal or no changes, meaning the only changes that we made or that had to be made to these were maybe if we made a grammatical change, sometimes we have to do like a gender kind of adjustment or a grammatical comma or something like that, but I can't even see on curriculum adoption.
I don't think, I don't think
I don't
there's
see
anything.
any of it.
I think we had to add the legal references at the bottom.
Yeah.
And curriculum development. Yeah, I don't see much to that. So,
I would motion to approve these two, IGA curriculum development and IGD curriculum adoption.
Second.
okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And, I lost my place. Oh, here we are. Okay. And then we have for, all right.
Yes.
First and final reading, oh no, then we have old business.
That's right.
Yep, sorry.
The memo that everyone waits for, the memo with the recommendation of the last day of school. Madam Chair, it is the recommendation of the superintendent that the last day of school be, and there's a typo there, Thursday, June 18th, 2026. June 18th is a half-day, which will adhere to our early release schedule as follows. With your affirmative vote, we will officially publish the last day of school in all of our online and district and school newsletter publications.
It wasn't previously a half-day, was it?
The last day of
Is it
school is
generally,
always...
generally a half-day, right?
Yeah, the last day is always a half-day for students and staff throughout the district.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Well, motion to approve June 18th as the last day of school and it be a half-day.
Just second it.
Okay. All in favor for June 18th as the last day of school, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that passes as 4 members.
Okay, and then the elusive 26-27 calendar. We have 2 minor edits on the back of the calendar for you to look at. First, grade 5 and 6, we realized after all of the review that our 5th grade open house collided with Yom Kippur. So we adjusted the 5th grade open house to September 24th. You can see that's highlighted. And then for grades 5 and 6, by request, we moved the parent-teacher conference in the spring to March 11th, which is a Thursday.
Okay.
We bring any changes as you have approved already, any changes by the superintendent come to you. I would say, given that this is the back of the calendar and our 2 changes, well, maybe doesn't, because we did a vote on the whole calendar, I would suggest a vote on the finalization of the back of the calendar.
I think the only thing that I noticed on there still is Katie
Oh,
versus Ryan.
we will also
You have
edit
to, we have to change the
We'll change the
titles as
titles
well.
as well. With those changes, Madam Chair, I recommend a vote on the back of the calendar for
Okay.
26-27.
Okay. And is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the FY27, 26-27 calendar, as
Legend.
amended.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Mr. B. Johnny Smith, second by Ms. Roncada, to amend the 26-27 calendar as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that passes. Thank you. All right, and the budget approval.
Mr. Libby.
Mr. Libby.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I did notice a typo on this as well. The last sentence reflects the town meeting date. It says May 5th, 2025, and the town meeting date is actually May 4th, 2026. That's upcoming. So we're We've reviewed this several times with the school committee. We've gone over it with the finance committee as well. The number agreed to with the town manager was a $2.2 million increase for our salary, operating, and capital outlay budgets, which is generally what we think of when we talk about the school budget, which represents a 3.72% increase, 3.44% increase on the fully burdened, when you include our fixed costs as well, of $20,784,573. So the total amount of the school budget, as it will appear in the town meeting warrants, will be $82,051,493 for salary, operating, capital outlay, and fixed costs. So, happy to entertain any questions at this point, or we can take a vote.
Any questions or comments on the budget?
I know.
No.
No.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2027 budget as presented in the amount of $82,051,493.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve the total budget for the town meeting warrant to go now to town meeting for $82,051,493 total salary, operating, and fixed costs.
Thank you.
Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Joni Smith?
Aye.
I vote aye as well, so that's a unanimous vote of 4 members. Thank you, Mr. Libby, Mrs. Terry Regan, and Mrs. Milligan for your work, for all the administrators that have weighed in on this as well, and for the committee members for all the work that we've done showing up and supporting it. So I hope the town meeting supports it as well. Okay, moving on to new business.
Madam Chair, we have the register periods that Dr. Milligan had spoke about, with the highlighted changes really on the grades 5 through 12.
Okay,
We would appreciate a vote to move these register periods forward.
any discussion? Questions?
No.
Make a motion to approve the 26-27 register periods as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada, how do you
Aye.
vote? Mrs. B. Joni Smith?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, I guess I didn't need to do that as roll call, but
Yeah.
there you go.
No, I think many of them say roll call because assuming that we were going to have
Sure.
Mr. Cutlass on virtually.
So I have myself all
Yes.
ready to go.
Well, the good news is the next memo that you're looking at does not require a vote. This is a draft of the first half of the next school year, or beginning in July, of the school committee meeting dates. It is presented for you as first, with no action required, so that it can come up for a vote on May 13th.
I have a question on it or comment.
Sure, yeah.
So, the July 21st dates, I have a conflict. I would like to attend. So I don't know if we can discuss a potential alternate. That whole week I'm not available, so it would have to be either the week before or the week after. And I think either of those work for me.
I'm also not available. I thought that was usually in August.
The August
Workshop.
administrative retreat, and that meeting is when the progress on the goals, as well as the updated strategic plan, will be presented. Your July meeting is your July
Right.
meeting where you will review your own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
school committee
that week is not good for me, so anyway,
Yeah,
I'll
that
do what
was,
the committee does.
yeah, that is just that's the
That's
one
all it
that we
is.
do. That's just our
Right.
regular goals. So,
What did I ask? Oh, I I know, I was thinking the workshop.
Right.
Big
That's the
workshop.
August,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's in August.
But otherwise, it's, I have no other issue.
So for July, I guess we could talk about this offline
Mm-hmm.
and then revisit this, but yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah, I would also miss that week too, so.
Okay, yeah.
So July is the only conflict so far? All right, we can look at it and see what, if Mr. Cutlass has any other concerns or issues, and then figure out if we can have another date there. Okay, great. And I think we looked at it just going through the end of the year as well, because once we flip the calendar, it just starts getting tricky. I think Mrs. Caliendo is really good at looking at dates and getting us kind of scheduled well. But what's really hard with our calendar for some reason is if we start looking at like being consistent with like every third Wednesday, it just doesn't align well with the school calendar because it seems to always back up into something. Parent-teacher conferences, or then all of a sudden, once we hit the spring, that third Wednesday bumps into both of the February and April school vacations. It's bumping into all sorts of things. So we're just not going to be a committee that can meet consistently every second Wednesday, or every third Wednesday, or every first Wednesday. So it kind of seemed to work out a little bit for a couple of meetings, I think, in the fall, but then it definitely is not going to work out once we flip the calendar. So once we got into that, we just thought, let's just get to December, and then maybe sometime in the summer, let's look at the following, if that works for everybody.
Have we considered, reconsidered the bi-monthly so that we can, I guess, take them away if we need to, and that may, if it bumps up against something, if we need to do shorter meetings, you know.
Well, I mean, bumps up against something in the sense that it's hard to hold a school committee meeting during school vacation week, because like we couldn't have, you know, we couldn't have recognitions, we couldn't have a lot of the people into meetings that we normally would have.
Right, but if
People
you're
away.
2 a month,
Right.
then you potentially.
Madam Chair, I think it's important to note, you do have 2 in October because you have the meeting for the special town meeting. You'll probably schedule, like you did this year, 2 in January because that starts the budget process, and 2 probably in May, like this. So I think it's been very surgical where you've placed them based on the need. I think that's smart practice to continue. We're not looking at the second half of next year at this point. You know, certainly Ms. Caliendo could draft that as well if that is helpful to people when looking at it all the way through, but maybe premature to do that.
No, yeah, it's worth throwing out there. Okay, if that's something people are interested in, let's consider it. So, okay. All right, thank you so much.
Sure. Again, that no vote is needed, and Ms. Caliendo will get back to the committee on thoughts over the summer especially.
Okay.
This next new business item is an annual item, and the school choice law requires all districts to accept incoming school choice students unless the school committee votes not to participate. Tonight, I am recommending that the school committee vote not to participate in the school choice program, and I'll offer these reasons. First and foremost, the risk of increased student population while maintaining manageable class sizes and not hiring new staff at this point. We just voted on a budget that does not include additional staff. I do have a really wonderful update for you. We hit 3,300 students in Tewksbury Public Schools. So by our own attrition, since our October SIMS, we are up 30 students. It's 31, then it's 29, but we have hit the 3,300 mark. We do see our class sizes ticking up manageably, but definitely in the early childhood grade levels. So that and the reconfiguration potentially of any building project, I just think that would be a lot for us to take on. There'd be too many unknowns. So again, This will require a vote of the committee that we do not participate in school choice for the upcoming school year.
I'll weigh in and say I'm comfortable voting in that direction right now, but I am open to a targeted school choice at some point. I think for a grade or for grades that, for consideration at some point, this might be something Tewksbury should or could consider.
Yeah.
I think when we were on the Tewksbury Facility Study Committee, it was a point of conversation. You know, when we talk about our enrollment, we talk about things like that. You know, let's see where this statement of interest goes. Let's see if we get into the MSBA project. Let's see if the town has an appetite for it. And let's see what the consideration is. But, you know, I don't think this should be something that's off the table. I think we need to keep all of our options open. So right now, do I think it's the right time for it? No. I agree with you. Our budget's in. It would be irresponsible for us to vote for this now, given that we voted for it and our plans are kind of set in place. But do I think it's something that we should maybe consider at some point to say, you know, you target it for a certain grade or a certain group and you kind of open it only to a certain number? I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to think
Yeah, I
about.
think with the, like you said, with the school configuration potential happening, just throwing that chaos into it too, it's,
Or at least talk to some districts that have done it
Sure.
and see what kind of experience they've had, and what has worked, what hasn't worked, and explore the option and see if that's even something that would be a reasonable thing for Tewksbury. I mean, I don't understand the transportation impacts, I don't understand anything about it, so, so I think, yeah, it's not maybe for us today, but could it be something for us at some point?
I mean, it would seem like it would need a serious, like,
Plan.
Yeah,
before we would ever vote for
A budgetary plan,
yeah,
Yeah,
right,
if you
look at all
Everything.
the angles.
everything.
right, but I just kind of want to
Sure.
say that I'm at least open to
Yeah.
the conversation. I was open to it in the committee. I'm open to it. I want to say that in our committee here, so. But today, I don't think it's the right thing today.
There's too many variables and we gotta weather one storm before we invite another one in.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the recommendation of the superintendent to not participate in school choice.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to not adopt school choice participation at this time. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Requires a roll call vote.
Oh, it does. Okay, so Mr. Lloyd, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. B. Joyce Smith? And I vote aye as well, so that would be a 4-0 motion.
Unless that was because Mr. Cutlass. would
Yeah, I
have-
wasn't sure.
But
I'm not
just to
sure
be clear,
either. Usually, financial votes need to be roll call, but
Yeah, but no,
I can't hurt.
never hurts. Okay, for new school committee matters of interest, I'll start with the newest new school committee member. Mr. Floyd, do you have any matters of interest that you'd like to share? Any Community or anything?
No,
Even just a
happy to
welcome.
be here and thanks for everyone's trust and giving me the opportunity to sit on the board and bring some new insight into things and opinions and ready to get to work.
Welcome. Mr. Moncada?
you're welcome. So, no, I'm all set. Thank you.
No, I just want to say I had the opportunity to attend the National School Board Association Conference over the weekend. I attended some great sessions about things that we're actively talking about. Talked about all sorts of AI. And
High-quality instructional materials.
high-quality instructional materials, lots of data on reading, and you know, the effects of devices on young minds. Lots of talk about devices. So, so yeah, it was a good opportunity, and I would just want to say, I appreciated that opportunity, so, and that was through MASC. I also want to say that on April 30th, our division with MASC is holding, Ms. Biagioni Smith and I are holding a session in Danvers, and we've invited Ms. Cecilia Regan to present with us, and a session for school committee members, and hopefully it'll be a nice time sharing district data and how to tell your district story, and so share that with other school committee members and see what that brings. So see where that goes.
Madam Chair, do you have
Yep.
something I have later done?
Go right ahead.
I want you to.
I'm done.
The state governor's passing the no cell phone in school. I know we have our own policies. And to be fair, I haven't done my own research into it, but is it something we have to look at in terms of how we're going to approach their law that they just signed?
You'd want to align a policy to the, obviously, once that legislation is passed, and we have all those details. Our procedures, I don't think will change in lieu of what we're hearing, but you definitely want to look at your policy on that.
Right.
And then that would, of course, would go into all the student handbooks and so on.
Was it cell phones in school? I mean, I thought it was just
Bell
like,
to bell.
social media.
No, there was two bills. It was
Okay.
social media under 13 and then the phones in schools. There's two
Got it.
bills they sent at the same time.
Got it.
And I didn't look into their, the fine print of what they're saying and what
My understanding is it's gone through the House and the Senate, but we're just still waiting for the governor, correct? Is that right?
And I would assume MASC will have guidance based on any laws that change.
In expectation of this to happen, many districts, including ourselves, have been very proactive. So I think we'll be in a good place.
Okay. And then the second thing is, I did watch the select board meeting last night, and I saw that our high school is looking to do a fun run of some sort, street race, road race.
yeah.
So it would be great to hear from the advisors, or Mr. Long, on that event.
We have some work to do on that before that comes in front of you, but it does need to come in front of you. Some details to iron out.
Okay? So sorry.
Okay.
I wrote them on a different note.
Gotcha. Okay, some future school committee meeting dates. May 4th, we have, you'll see us at the annual town meeting. And again, the budget will be presented there, so please join us at that fun day. May 6th, special town meeting. Again, that'll be a nice event. May 13th, not a fun event, but that's a great time to show your democracy. May 13th, 2026, regular school committee meeting. May 27th, tentative school committee meeting. Please plan for it, because I think that day will happen. We've had lots of successful students, so I don't foresee that that day will be canceled. Future subcommittee and advisory meeting dates: CPAC business meeting, like we said, April 16th. Wellness Advisory Committee is June 3rd. Wellness Subcommittee is April 21st. And Tewksbury School Facility Study Committee, like I said, I think that is on hold for now until further notice. Any future agenda items from anybody? No? Okay.
Nothing new.
On this end, anybody? No? No, thank you. Okay. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into executive session. This will be a non-public session to discuss the approval of the executive session minutes from the March, what date was it that we had a meeting? Was it March 13th?
13th.
Yep. And collective bargaining pertaining to the TTA bargaining unit. The school committee will not reconvene in open session after the executive session adjourns. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for roll call vote. How do you vote, Mr. Lloyd?
Aye.
Mr. Moncada?
Aye.
Mrs. Biagioni Smith?
Aye.
And so at this time, the committee closes open meeting at 8:08 PM. And we will adjourn in executive session.